Welcome to GBC News Special Edition. This evening we're looking at the Royal Agyapa Deal that has attracted a lot of criticisms and a lot of issues, controversies all over the country. If you're now ranking issues that are high on the tables of journalists, political pundits, that is the Royal Agyapa issue. And this evening I have in the studio with me a private legal practitioner who has an extensive experience in mineral laws and energy, and that is lawyer Nyarko in the studio to look at this issue. My name is Edward Nyarko. You can join us on WhatsApp line 055-744-6429. You can join us on 055-744-6429 and share your thought with us. He's here with us to take us through, and then we'll look at some of the issues that are raging and that has come on, and we need to look at it and dissect it, because at the end of the day, the gold belongs to all of us. Welcome.
Thank you, but I must say that I haven't yet attained the heights that you have raised me so high to. But God is good. I pray that I get there.
Yes, you've done a lot in that sector. So, okay. Now let's look at the laws or the act that govern this particular Mineral Development Fund. That's Act 978. What exactly does it seek to do? And why did we even do that in the first instance?
Right. Thank you very much, and good evening. Let me just go back a bit. Fortunately, we are blessed with quite a number of natural resources. Chief among them is gold. We've had diamonds in other places, even though it's not that much active these days, but we have had diamond, we have bauxite, Minahini and other places. But when it comes to gold, we have been extracting gold over a century now, and over time, not too long ago, God also added petroleum to us, and we are extracting petroleum currently. So we are very grateful to God for all these wonderful minerals. But that is said, until we find a use for any resource or any material, it doesn't become a resource until we find a use for it. And otherwise, it will be quote-unquote useless in the ground. Many years ago, minerals belonged to whoever owned the land. So there was a principle that if you own the land, you own whatever is in, under, over, on, or above it. And then it came to a time that we realized, when we found use, if you like, for gold in particular, then some laws evolved, and then over the years we said that you may own this piece of land, you may own whatever is on it, but if minerals are found in the land, especially if let's concentrate on gold, that gold doesn't belong to you. As I said previously, the owner owns everything. And now, so we pass laws now to say that any minerals that are found in the land, for example, belongs to the whole Republic of Ghana and not the owner of the land. But since all of us cannot be holding pieces of it, we have vested all in the president. So any president that is elected in Ghana, or as the case used to be, heads of states, but which we hope will never happen again. So any president, one of the functions of such president is that he's a trustee for all our minerals and natural resources in particular. So the gold, any gold found anywhere in Ghana belongs to all the people of Ghana.
Including diamond, everything.
Yes, I mean all natural resources is natural fact, but since we are concentrating on gold, and it's vested in the president in trust of and for the benefit of the people of Ghana. Of course, the president is also number one citizen anyway, so for himself and for all the people of Ghana. But you know that the gold has to be extracted from the ground, and we know it involves huge investment, which normally is beyond the reach of a developing nation like Ghana. But the individuals are able to marshal or attract investments, pool their investments together, get the appropriate machinery and facilities that will enable them to first discover the exact place in Ghana where the gold is in commercial quantity, not bits and pieces, and then they start the exploration and then exploitation, some call it, and then over the time you extract it. It involves a lot of money and other resources. So our laws have made it clear that, as I said, any natural resources found in Ghana belongs to the people of Ghana. If you want to extract part of the gold, for example, first you must form a company. If you want to do it in commercial basis, Minerals and Mining Act makes it clear. You must form a company. There are certain criteria you have to meet. Some are legal, some are financial, some are technical, but you have to put all that together and satisfy the appropriate state agency before you can be allowed to extract gold from any part of Ghana.
So what does the Act 786 to do?
Okay, now I think you is a turning number now. 978.
978.
Now, so 978 was passed, and every law, in most cases that I have seen, there is something called the mischief or the malady, the disease. What is wrong with the existing laws or legal framework that we should need another law to cure or even prevent any adverse effect that the status quo or the current circumstance that we are in has been affecting us adversely. So a bit background, I'll come to it in a minute. When we discovered petroleum in commercial quantity in 2007 thereabout, the government now started putting legal framework and institutional framework together, because we had realized that the model that we adopted for gold has not helped us at all. We've not been able to maximize the benefit of the exploitation. So during President Mills' time, it's crystallized and went to Parliament and passed a law at 815, that is a Petroleum Revenue Management Act, in which we have set aside certain funds. One supports the budget, the other is the stabilization fund, which they say cushions shocks that may occur during like a pandemic that we are currently in, or maybe some international financial crisis and so on. And then the third one is the heritage fund, in which we have put some percentage of the revenue proceeds of revenues from petroleum for the next generation. We'll be looking at it. So some of us were wondering why a similar strategy or facility or legal framework has not been fashioned for minerals as well, especially gold. So I was very much delighted when I heard that the government or the state has caused a bill to be laid in Parliament for a law to be passed where a fund will be set aside whereby some portions of the revenue we get from the extraction of minerals or gold will be paid into it. Before this time, all these monies were being paid into the consolidated fund, and we can use it for all other things, including payment of debt and so on. So in 2018, and exactly on 3rd December 2018, the president assented to the bill that had been passed, and it became law, and that is the Minerals Income Investment Fund Act 2008 at 978. Some call it MIF, Minerals Income Investment Fund. You can call it that one. Now the purpose of the act is simply this. So if I can just read it from here. An act to establish a fund to manage the equity interests of the Republic in mining companies, to receive mineral royalties and other related income due the Republic from mining operations, to provide for management and investment of the assets of the fund and for related matters. And let me point out to you some significant points here. Now you have that. So the fund is a body corporate, so you can call it's like a company. The object of the fund, one, to maximize the value of the income of due republic from mineral wealth of the country for the benefit of its citizens. Monetize the minerals income accruing to the republic in a beneficial, responsible, transparent, accountable, and sustainable manner.
Now, the word monetize is being bandied all over the place. When we say monetize, what does that mean for someone out there to understand?
Well, first of all, I think it's almost like a term of art, but the point is that we get royalties, we get corporate tax, ground rent, and other things are paid as a result of the activities of those who extract petroleum. But for this, all these revenues that are designated to be revenues derivable from the extraction of gold will be paid into this fund. But the significant thing, as I understand it, is, for example, the royalties will be paid to Bank of Ghana for direct transfer to this fund. So the royalties is money.
Okay.
In plain terms, they pay money.
Okay.
So the monetization is just a glorified term to just show that beyond the receipt of the money, we have also put a value on it, okay, in terms of investment, for example, to become viable, to yield further income and so on. Then also the next is to develop and implement measures to reduce the budgetary exposure of the republic to minerals income fluctuations. You know, the prices of minerals are not fixed by us.
Yeah, se. I mean, 2011 we're doing 1,200. Yes. Now we're doing 1,000.
Here is the highest
per
now.
ounce gold.
And you know that is the unintended effect of COVID. Mm-hmm. Because of COVID, the price of gold is almost skyrocketing. So if we are able to manage our affairs well, as by the grace of God we are doing, we may benefit more from COVID than it has been. We can take that up another time. Okay. Now, so another important point that we need to also highlight is the powers of the fund, and this will interest you to know that the fund is to create and hold equity interest in special purpose vehicle. This was the act that was passed in 2018. So the SPV that has become...
So it wasn't just this 14th August when Parliament was going on recess.
No.
All right.
So it's this SPV that has become like a monster, quote and unquote, that has been in the act. So to interest in a special purpose vehicle in any jurisdiction in furtherance of its objective, and the SPV shall be free to operate as a regular commercial company.
In any jurisdiction means that it could be outside this...
Yes, any jurisdiction. That's beyond Ghana. Procure listing of the SPV on any reputable stock exchange.
But why do you think that the framers of this particular law or act will say that they want to make sure that it can operate out, in any jurisdiction? Why?
Yes, because you know our market is not that huge. I mean, as I was telling you, even the stabilization and the heritage funds are not largely invested. I'm not even sure even a penny is invested in Ghana. We invest them in markets outside, especially in the US, where, as I made the point earlier, sometimes we only get about 1%, if you are lucky 2% per annum. And at the end of the day, we go to the same market, these monies are recycled, maybe they top it up, and give it to you like 9%, the same market. So I have never been in support of that kind of investment, even though I was extremely delighted that fortunately we have set up a fund into which petroleum receipts will be paid. So we'll come to that. So they realize that the economy of Ghana is not that huge. I mean, so there is the need. In any case, in the first place, almost all these minerals companies extracting minerals in Ghana, gold, substantially they are foreign owned. By our own design, we've said that Ghana has 10% in every from the start. They call it carried interest. We don't pay anything for it. From the beginning, once you start the set up the company, yeah. Ghana has 10% shares. Sometimes we sell it back to them, so they have 100%. So they have 90% anyway. And the royalties,
did in the golden share issue of Anglo Gold.
Yes.
Okay.
The royalties that come to us, the highest is 5%. Some is between 3 and 5% of the profit. I mean, after all the deductions and so on. And others is 5%. That is the cap. So that is what we get. So strictly speaking, substantial part of the minerals, when they are in the ground, they call it in situ. When they are in the ground, they belong to us. As soon as they are extracted, if we still keep our 10%, that is what we have. The rest is in the form of revenue, royalties, and so on and so forth. But so the B is also interesting. Procure the listing of the special purpose vehicle on any reputable stock exchange that it considers appropriate. Then also assign or transfer all or any of its rights to minerals into the SPV in furtherance of the objects of the fund, including through allocation agreements and stability agreements. These are in the Act. But it looks like this is why we have not adverted our minds.
Yes, it's because maybe we were all not conscious of what was happening. I mean, almost 2 years ago, 2018.
That also then sometimes supports the argument that if you say that ignorance of the law is not an excuse, perhaps it may not apply generally to countries such as Ghana, but that cannot also be an excuse to violate the law that your own members of parliament representing you in parliament have passed. So if they are not doing a good job by making us know of the existence of the law, well, we have the right to change them. Because to be honest with you, if this Agyapa, and that is maybe again the unintended significance of Agyapa, how many people would have even bothered to look for this act in the first place? Even now, a lot haven't, but they are expressing their views. Unbeknown to them, their own members of parliament has passed this act and has given this myth the power to establish another company to which it can assign all its interests for it to manage it for it.
Now, there's this concern out there that it doesn't make sense for Ghana to mortgage these receivables to an opaque special purpose vehicle that we called Agyapa.
Oh well,
investing for $500 million.
I wonder I wonder the import or the attribute of opaque.
That's
what it's. But otherwise, in the first place, the act is clear. The SPV that will be established or that has been established will be 100% owned by Ghana from the start.
So it's not an opaque institution.
Why is it an opaque? I mean, a company was set up in Ghana in the first, an act of parliament has established this institution called NIF. Okay? And it has given it power to set up a company. So, parliament can either pass a law or cause a law to be passed directly or through others authorized by parliament itself. Parliament brings into being some institutions, but they can cause some institutions to be brought into being through other persons or institutions. And Parliament has said that instead of we coming back to set up SPV, we have given you transferred part of our powers to the MEF to establish a company.
Okay.
So it is established in the name of Parliament. So why can it be opaque? Then we have to ask our members of Parliament what due diligence have been done since the company was set up, because then it becomes an indictment to refer to something that has been established in your name as opaque, meaning that there are some shady dealings.
But there's that argument out that they were not given sufficient time to go through this process of Agyapa as a subsidiary of the myth.
Well, once an act of parliament is passed, in law we say omnia presumenta, it's a long Latin term, but official act is deemed to have complied with all the proper legal framework applicable to it. It's a presumption, but you will have to dislodge that presumption or rebut that presumption with a more convincing legal grounds. Once it has been passed by Parliament, whether some worked out, it is a deed of Parliament, quote and unquote, an act of Parliament, and none of us, in fact, can even rebut it unless you say that it may have contravened any provision of the Constitution, which is a different matter altogether, and it's not an argument that I have heard. So you pass the MIF Act. To be honest with you, in my view, the government didn't really need to even go for an amendment, because Parliament has already given the power to set up the special purpose vehicle to MIF. So MIF now has the power to, on the basis of the assigned power of Parliament, to establish these things, unless there were other necessities that called for going back to Parliament even for the amendment.
All right. Now, someone in New Abrim,
yes,
who lives in an area where gold, that's my hometown too. Yes, where gold is being mined.
Yeah.
Such a person, how would the special purpose vehicle Royal Agyapa will impact positively on his or her life?
Well, I can tell you that if you were to travel from Nkoko and you take the road from to Equiase and towards Abrim to Adeusna, where between Abrim and Adeusna, where the Newmont are extracting gold, and I understand that it's one of the best in the world. It's very huge indeed. Maybe it's a call on them to be more accountable, because I think they are getting a lot of money, and you see the road, or you experience the terrible nature of the roads. I understand that fortunately the government has assigned it to some contractors who are on the ground now. You can smell poverty and despondency. As for Obuasi, I've been to Obuasi a number of times. It's getting better now, but not necessarily because of the direct benefits from the extraction of gold. You see, so for those people, what they are looking forward to is to touch the benefits. It's not the general benefits that normally come to them in the form of it being trickling down and so on. They want tangibles that they can touch. Because of the extraction of minerals, this road, this terrible road, terrible dust, has now been constructed, wonderfully tarred. They have a hospital, most of those places, but for the Catholic Church, there's not even a clinic. You understand? So that is what they want to see. So I have argued that, you see, and even since the Petroleum Management Act, that there are two main forms of investment. There are others, but fundamentally, in my view, we have the liquid and what we call the public good. The public good, I'm taking that first, the infrastructure, roads, hospitals, education. Because you see, these minerals, they are not there forever, as they put it. And if you rely on them too much also, then you are going to attract the virus called the resource curse. I've argued that in Ghana we are fortunate we haven't as yet. But if you don't, so that is why you have to diversify the benefits by applying substantial part of it into education. Because once you educate your people, they are able to use tools to manufacture, or they acquire the necessary skills and expertise to innovate. It will come to a time that they will hardly rely on mineral resources. You understand? Good. Because as I said earlier, if you don't find a use for any element, it can never become a resource.
Let me just go to the lines. People are sending comments, and then we'll continue. Next question we're going to look at is the value.
All right.
That's one argument that we have that value this Agyapa Royal. So
Right,
you come.
okay.
Leviticus from Kaswa says that Agyapa Royal is an SPV to be used to raise long-term capital for development of Ghana. Tell the NDC man to stop confusing us, but NDC should bring out their manifesto.
Oh, is it me?
No, I don't know what he's trying to say. Yeah, and that's what he's saying. That, all right. So, okay. Tofik Kaswa say, may Allah save us from the original pandemic NDC? Oh, no. Okay. Let's go on. I mean, the lines are... So you can still join us on this line, 0557446429 on WhatsApp lines. Now, let's go to the issue of undervaluing the asset of Agyapa. Some are arguing that we're thinking of $1 billion. Some to estimate it should be around $3 billion, looking at the value of the 12 companies that are... We know 16 and they said 12 for now. What is your response to that?
Well, thank you. You see, if you ask me, to be honest with you, I have not seen any concrete evidence that confirms the actual valuation that has been done.
Maybe it's because of the now we're talking about $1,900 an ounce. It used to be 1,300. Perhaps that's why they are extrapolating.
Yes, but we also know that the prices fluctuate. Those who are going to invest, you see, let's again not forget that we are only going to give up 49%, not the entire shares or the entire interest. 49% of the interest is what is going out.
To be listed.
Yes, to be listed. So all the argument should be around that. So if it's 1 billion, is it 1 billion of the 49%, or the entire 100% is 1 billion? That has to be there. But honestly speaking, I haven't seen any valuation, because I understand, and that is the way it is. There are non-disclosure agreements contained in the main agreements.
Why is this so? Why that non-disclosure?
Because you see, people must be able to keep certain fundamental matters in agreement between them. Because if you were just to disclose it, somebody can easily adopt it, and by the time you hear another African country, I understand we are the first in terms of this particular strategy or vehicle that we are adopting in Africa.
But the law that you quoted, it talked about the issue of transparency.
Yes.
Yes. So someone will argue that in that law, there's that issue of transparency. So why are we talking about non-disclosure? Is it because we are afraid of outsiders? Then why not disclose to Ghanaians who are the owners of these SPV?
So any Ghanaian who wants to invest in it, the disclosure will be made to you.
Okay.
You see, a case can be made that because this is not an agreement between individuals, it is an agreement, and it is not an agreement that relates to just any other object. One of the things, I think one of the things that we cherish highly, if not the most, is natural resources. Land is number one, and then the minerals and so on. And so the rules internationally are specially made. So you may enter into a general agreement for loans, for example, but the terms that are usually contained in an agreement for the extraction or sale of minerals, they are completely different and very specialized.
Now, one major issue that has come up is why are we investing or doing the listing in a safe haven called New Jersey, and it will attract that indictment from the EU of which being tagged as a money laundering country.
Well, in the first place, let's correct that. I think it's based on what somebody sent you. We are not doing the listing in any tax haven. The listing is being done on the London Stock Exchange, and I understand another aspect of listing will be done in Ghana. That is a bit technical, but it's like depository, whatever, is being done in Ghana. but the listing is not being done in any tax haven. I think the person is referring to Jersey.
Jersey, yes.
Which is a secured jurisdiction in the attached to the United Kingdom. So the listing itself is being done on the London Stock Exchange. And my brother, when it comes to minerals and petroleum, the rules out there are more stringent than any other rules when it comes to agreement for the purchase or for dealings in any other thing, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, in most cases, the person who is going to invest will go through very thorough screening the sources. They will trace, especially even in the US, it's even more serious. Even when the funds are being, the investment yield returns and is being paid to you, how you use it will be monitored. There are some that will require you, those who are going to give you the money, to give all disclosures. They may even ask you to bring an insurance that when you go to, if you were to, for the extraction of minerals, when you go to Ghana, for example, to extract the minerals, you are not going to cause them adverse environmental effect. And if you so do, you will never become eligible for any more funds. Number two, a lot has been said about Jersey, but just read about Jersey. There are rumors, but the fact of the matter is that you just cannot. So in the first place, Jersey is just going to be the resident jurisdiction because of its proximity to the UK, and of course the tax haven thing is there. It's quite arguable, but it is quite attractive. Some of the rumors may have been confirmed in the past, but I tell you that currently it is extremely difficult to engage in shady deals in Jersey and be allowed to list on the London Stock Exchange. Of course, the UK is no more part of the EU in the first place anyway.
Someone sent a text message and said that, good afternoon, please, how do shareholders benefit from the Agyapa company, because Agyapa will not do any business to get profit? That is his question.
Oh, well, the Agyapa's source of funds is the royalties. They are not going to keep the royalties in another fund. They are going to turn it around, and that is why I was even reading the functions to you. One of them is manage, deal in, and invest minerals into minerals income accruing to the Republic received by the fund. Hold and manage minerals equity in the interest of the Republic and exercise all rights to the minerals equity interest. Then seek the best possible financial returns on investments, having regard to internationally recognized best practices. So they are going to invest this. That's why I gave you example, that nothing stops them from even constructing a road to at any part of Ghana and putting a toll booth on it. Nothing stops them from constructing a hospital from which they will derive substantial returns, whilst the capital may still be secured. So these are all the opportunities we have given to them. Manage the assets entrusted to the fund, or they can acquire properties, and so on and so forth. So it is not as if they are just taking the money to keep. Then otherwise, which investor will come and invest in a company that has no possibility of attracting profit for the benefit of the shareholders?
Let's take this from Alhaji Dauda Madinesti. He said, large capital intensive enterprise will require foreign investment to provide technology and good management and infusion of capital. Lawyer, my question is, if we're invited as a council to a company like that, what is your view of ownership transformation and then the ongoing privatization process of government of Ghana to retain minority block share of shares, because the merger agreement will entail control by the foreign
yes, I think part of it relates to petroleum and so, but it's a very intelligent question. But the point is, one, yes, it's capital intensive, but that mainly relates to the extraction of the minerals. You see, one of the things I understand this MIF and the SPV are going to do is to invest in existing mineral companies or mining companies, and even new ones, because the argument is that, you see, I asked somebody the question, why is South Africa able to show the benefit of minerals? They have been able to maximize the benefit of minerals. He said it's because substantially those mineral companies are owned by South Africans. Remember, the whites were also there, and some of the blacks too became very wealthy. And so substantially, it is citizen-owned or individuals from that country or companies established in that country that own this. So one of the purpose of this, I understand, is to also facilitate the establishment of mining companies into which Ghanaians will be able to invest, so we can get our own mining companies as well, instead of the current situation where 90% or sometimes even we sell the 10% belong to companies that are substantially controlled by external owners. That is one of the things we want to achieve, as I understand it, that to enable us to establish mining companies so they may be able to even give capital to Ghanaians who are in the position to establish their own mining companies. So it is no more local content. Perhaps you'll be rather looking at foreign content, because substantially it is owned by Ghanaians. So the all the huge returns will stay in the country. And if we are able to achieve this in the next 10 years or so, we can come out with a very huge company, perhaps not owned by the state, but facilitated by the state, but owned by individual Ghanaians.
From Ashigbe Adan said, together with your guests, you are doing justice this matter. Great job. Now, one issue, lawyer, that's also come up is that this Agyapa was not factored into the media budget review that was done, and so it doesn't give it, in quotes, the legitimacy that it requires. Though you have talked about it, that the MIF has what it takes to go ahead and establish this SPV.
In the first place, I understand that the 2019 budget captured the MIF and all that is contained in it. Apart from that, once Parliament has passed an act, all right, and subsequently ratified an agreement that has given the teeth to this act to bite, you don't need the appropriation bill that leads to the appropriation act or the budget to also endorse it. Parliament has already established it, and beyond even the budget, as it happened recently, the Agyapa is, which I say for me, it is what we call out of abundance of caution situation. Otherwise, MIF has already been given all the powers to do it. So to answer that question directly, I will say that we didn't need even the mid-year budget to fund or to endorse what has happened. Parliament has, even in 2018, in the MIF, I understand the 2019 budget, and now just recently has passed Act of Parliament, ratified this agreement. So you don't need.
Talking about budget, I'm told, I read somewhere that 2011, this intention or the need for us to set up such a special purpose vehicle was mooted. Have you read through that?
We have all seen some things.
And what was it seeking to? How different is that one from this?
First of all, let me on the side of caution.
But let me, before we go ahead. We want to tell our viewers that this is being streamed live on Ghana Broadcasting Corporation Facebook, so you can join us on that. Okay, please go ahead.
So let me admit that I will only err on the side of caution that what we have all seen, I won't say on social media, but on some of the established quote-unquote portals, is to the effect that this whole idea was muted, if it's even a word, in 2011 or thereabout. I'm not surprised, because I'm saying that it was at the same time that the Petroleum Revenue Management Act was passed. And this and that one, they are like twins. Except that how to invest is now the issue. And I'm saying that this act and what was muted in 2011 rather goes further. If you look at what this act does, it goes further than even the Petroleum Revenue Management Act. And it was the same idea that was first muted. At least if what we have all seen on these portals are, they are evidence that can be substantiated or authenticated, then I'm saying that it's not substantially different from what we have now. And there's nothing wrong with it. For me, it is rather a shame that it has taken us over a century to even come to this in the first place. And that is why I think it's just God-given that at this point in time, we should become this much innovative and establish not just a fund, but a fund that is going to work to get returns to the extent that, like in Norway, they don't even touch the original fund.
Now, if I'm a chief,
yes,
in let's say Kede in the eastern region,
how I wish it would be one day.
And I'm and other traditional rulers who benefit from this royalty. Yes. How is this going to impact positively on them?
I will say something that is very controversial, but it's not coming from me. You know, I gave you a book. In that book, there is a case from the Supreme Court. Was it 2013, 2015? It's in the, those who have the Ghana Law Report. Look at 2013, 2015. Okofo Khan, the second, versus Attorney General, what do you call Attorney General, GRA, and so on. Lands Commission. In that case, it was argued that GRA, when they collect the royalties, have to pay 20% of it to the chiefs. And the Supreme Court said, you have no right to do that. I understand it's still being done.
Who has no right? The chiefs.
That the state has no right
to give it 20% to the chiefs.
Because
and they're the custodians of the resource.
They are not custodians of the resources, okay. Unfortunately. As I told you, not just only the chiefs, all persons in whose land minerals were found for extraction used to own those minerals. The gold, for example, until we passed the law. And now it is one of the fundamental provisions in the Constitution. If I remember correct, Article 268, for example, that all minerals belong to the state, vested in the president. So the minerals are vested in the president, and the proceeds, revenues coming from it, goes to the state. The chiefs and other landowners are entitled to other forms of revenue, if I may call this so, or sometimes compensation. Compensation for surface land use, for example, will have to be paid to you by the mining companies. And it is that which they are entitled to. But you will be naive, as they should forgive me, but as a company extracting minerals, to think that you can just peacefully and with comfort extract minerals in a particular community if you don't take care of the owner of the chiefs and the owners of the. So there have been arrangements between them. But when it comes to the royalties, as far as I'm concerned, until that Supreme Court decision is changed, all the royalties that paid pursuant to the extraction of gold, for example, must be paid to the state for the entire people of Ghana. Unfortunately, the Supreme Court says the chiefs are not entitled to a penny of the royalties. If it's 5%, pay all to the, it used to be paid to the Consolidated Fund, now to Bank of Ghana and directly to MIF, and MIF may then have to pay to the Agyapa or any other SPV that perhaps we may settle on if we have to change this at all.
So, in your view, there is nothing wrong with the Agyapa Royal Deal?
Well, I won't say so.
What should we add?
I won't say so.
And what should we take?
Definitely.
Okay.
But I will say that, as far as I'm concerned, it was not for nothing that the framers of our Constitution said, even though these minerals and natural resources are vested in the president, he alone cannot decide what to do with it. Before anybody can have access to the gold, the president alone has no power to give it out. You must send a draft agreement to Parliament, the representatives of the people, let them debate it by whatever means, adopted by Parliament, and let them confirm. They can even make amendments, and they do make amendments sometimes. Do all they could, and let them ratify or approve it. Some will use that term before the president, who is the trustee, can even have the right to continue from there to deal with it. So, having gone through that process from the executive to Parliament, perhaps the last organ of state left is the judiciary. But as it stands now, it means that prima facie, irrebuttably, irrebuttably, everything is okay. But now you hear other experts expressing their views on it. And I have said that perhaps Parliament may have to either take the blame in totality or share in the blame. Because one, as I said earlier, elsewhere, Parliament may even write to the judiciary. We want an opinion on this matter that is before us. Sometimes you can send it to academia and the other experts. But when you make the point, Parliament say, we also have all these people. We have a lot of lawyers in Parliament, accountants. We have mining experts. We have natural resource experts and so on. But I think they may now see that that may not be adequate. At the same time, it should not also be the norm that those who have been elected to take decisions on our behalf will also be held hostage, with all due respect, because they have not sought our advice. If we are dissatisfied, we go to the polls and change them.
All right. Thank you very much, Nyarko. It's great having you. We've been having a special edition on the Royal Agyapa Deal. And
I like the way you put it, even though Royal is not part of the name.
Agyapa Royalty. Yes, Agyapa Royalty, exactly. Agyapa Royalty, yes. We've been looking at it. It's been one of the issues that's on the front burner now all over, and on the mainstream social media, that's the most topical issue now. It's great to have you to have this discussion.
As always.
Yes, great. And those of you send your comment to us via WhatsApp, we're grateful. God willing, meet again. My name is Edward Nyarko. See you.